How we doing, people? We are back, and it feels like forever. But me and Lee are back in the house talking football. It's been a nice break, international break. Do you know what? I had a couple of days off, and I needed it so bad, just to recharge, just to re-energize, and just to stop talking about the dross that we were seeing from Arsenal. To be honest with you, it's been nice, and I hate internationals, Lee, but I kind of feel like I needed this one. This was quite a
Yeah,
good break for me, man. How have you been?
100% needed it. Needed it. I don't like the international break. And I have to say, for the last 2 years, I've always been looking forward to Arsenal playing. I'm not looking forward to Saturday. I'll be really honest with you, Dan. I'm not, because I know that there's a lot of pressure on it, a lot of worry. We've got to start performing, and I've actually enjoyed having the weekend off, not having to worry about the Arsenal, not having to worry about football, and enjoyed the first time I've really enjoyed the international break. Why? Because we've not been good enough, and now it comes back. I'm excited for what can be there if we can get going. I think Liverpool got some difficult fixtures. So have City. We've got some difficult fixtures as well, but somehow along the line, we've got to win these games. And if we don't, then it's all over. A lot of people are saying it probably is now. I'm not quite in that camp at this moment in time, but listen, I wouldn't put any of my money on it at this moment in time. But yeah, mainly I've sort of recharged the batteries a little bit, and I was looking forward to today having a chat about the Arsenal. It's the first time I've had a chat about the Arsenal for about a week or so, So been doing other things and been enjoying it, and I've enjoyed the break, I have to say. So and no international breaks now, Dan, for 5 months. So there you go. So it's all club football now until March. So let's enjoy it and hopefully start picking up some proper results.
We need to, mate. We need to. And it starts this weekend. Look, I wanted to cover a little bit of news before we go into this weekend, because there has been some. I mean, I know that it is international break, so a lot of it is trying to find stuff to talk about. I'm sure some of these journalists just kind of make stuff up. But there has been some strong rumours about Arsenal moving in January for a couple of players. And I wanted to get your thoughts on it, Lee, because they're quite, I don't know if they're exciting. Some people don't know they are, to be honest. I had to properly look at what was happening, but they are Real Madrid signings, Real Madrid players, should I say. And it's Arda Güler, who is the Turkish sensation, 19 years old, and Diaz as well from Real Madrid. Both not really playing, but that doesn't really say much, Lee, because obviously the team that Real Madrid have got is very hard to get in that side, as we saw with Martin Odegaard. So when you've got Vinny Jr., Kylian Mbappe now, Rodrigo, Jude Bellingham, Valverde, Camavinga, the list goes on. There are going to be some of these youngsters that could potentially be available. And it is looking as if, although they've said they're not for sale and they're ruling out selling them, they are basically saying that should a loan deal come along in January, they could be interested. And Arsenal yesterday were linked very heavily, particularly with Arda Güler, very similarly to how we got Odegaard, a loan, and then there was a move that was possible in the summer. Do you think this is more likely than going out and getting that big striker for like 60, 70 million? What do you think, mate?
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. It probably is more likely, but look, I'm not saying that then that we need to get some sort of players in, and they might be exciting for us and all that, as you just quite rightly said with the Odegaard signing. But I think we need to go big in January. I really do, Dan. I think that we didn't do in the summer for whatever reason, maybe because we couldn't get who we wanted. I don't know. Things what have happened there, but we've left ourselves a little bit light. We said that, the beginning of the transfer, when the transfer window in, even though I said I was like relatively happy with it, and I did say we was light by 2 players, and I still stand by that. Maybe not light as in numbers, but I felt that we should have gone better than what we got with Sterling, if I'll be honest. I said that at the time. January comes along, we've got no director of football to go there and get what we want. So I don't know, but I do think that, how can I say it at the moment? Like, I think that I've listened to a lot of people that over the last couple of weeks Some of them a little bit over the top about it, but some of them like make good points as well about, you know, the squad system and squad whatever it is and all that, like, you know, and are we serious about winning the league or whatever? And I think that maybe this would be a showtime that we need to do something in January, because I do think the Euros and everything that we looked a little bit jaded in certain areas, and I think that injuries have took their toll a little bit this season. You know, we've got another one now with Trossard. We don't know how long he's going to be out. It seems like every international break we lose a player, which didn't happen last season, Dan. Like, you know, we was not. People go, oh, we didn't get no injuries. We did get injuries last season. We didn't get them in key areas. You know what I mean? Like, but we've had key players go down this season. You know, key player obviously Odegaard. You know what I mean? Obviously, like. I think Declan Rice has not been at the levels of last season because of the effects of the Euros, in my opinion. So we've had players out, Saka out at important times. You know, defensively we've not had the same defence I don't think for more than 1 or 2 games this season. So, you know, we need to. I think that sometimes along the line, just maybe, we need someone that's just going to give everybody a lift. Look, more so probably fans like yourself. You know, you're really like gone on the other side of the fence now. I'm still sitting firmly on the fence. I think you're sliding towards the other side of the fence. So then there's a lot of fans like that, Dan. You know,
do you blame them though? Do you blame them?
No, I don't blame them. I get what everybody's saying. I do. I understand it. I'm on the boat at the moment. Like, see what happens till Christmas. But I can see that people have gone that way. And you know, listen. By the time we sign players in January, it might be too late then. So I think we've got to look at it from that point of view. Come January. You know, if we're still 9 points behind or more, is it worth it? I don't know, like, you know. So that's another debate, another time, like. But I do feel I understand the frustration with fans at the moment. What Arsenal have got to do is try and build a bit of trust back and try and win a few players back. Now, win some fans back. How do they do that? Yeah, go and beat Nottingham Forest convincingly. Go and beat West Ham convincingly. Go and beat Manchester United convincingly. Go and then beat Fulham convincingly. Go then and beat Everton convincingly. Go then again and beat Crystal Palace convincingly. Then Ipswich. I think fans would come back and go, yeah, you know what? Let's have some. We're back on track a little bit. It's going to be difficult. And the one thing that I think we are capable of doing it, but there's no rhyme or reason. I can't turn around to you and say Arsenal are going to win their next 6 games. Why do I think they can win their 6 games? Because they're good enough. But, you know, you can come back to me with a different argument, and I can't argue with that, like, you know. So I get why there are frustrations with a lot of fans at this moment in time. And do you know what? I don't sit there when they're slagging off Arteta or slagging off the club. I don't sit there and go, oh, you know, I mean, you're toxic or you're this and that. I quite understand it. You know what I mean? Like that is how it is. Like, you know what I mean? So, listen, and everybody's got opinions. You know what I mean? Like Lee Judges is delusional. Like, you know, am I delusional?
Ignore it.
You know what I mean? I'm delusional. Am I? Like, you know, I don't think I'm delusional. You know, I know that we've still got good players. We've still got a good team. We're 4th in the league. It's not like we're down halfway, like 8th or 9th when it was horrendous. And that when you can be losing your stuff and everything like that. But listen, I understand that at this moment at the time when Cecil, you're a twat, right? Like, you know. But listen,
bro.
I actually understand. So this is the thing, like, you know what I mean? Because I don't agree with these people that are saying all these things at the moment. But want to go, oh yeah, you're and have a slag off for everybody and whatever. Like at this moment in time, I'm not at that. I'm not at that thing. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not at that doorstep, and I'm pretty sure Cecil ain't neither. I think that, you know, we've got to back the team. That's what we do. We're supporters. We have to back the team. And the club to a certain degree. But I understand when everybody's having a moan up at this moment in time, Dan. I really do.
No, look, I'm one of those that will kind of not be afraid to kind of say when I'm annoyed. I think a lot of people know that. It's not a shock to hear. But right now, I think there's justification for some of the fan base to be a little bit concerned, worried, or have a little bit of a kind of sway towards maybe this isn't going to be rosy, because it hasn't been rosy, if I'm honest with you. And I understand, however, that I had Harry and Sophie on last night. I had a really good chat with them both, and I think Harry actually made a really good point. I think we're out the title race for now, and I think that was a good way of saying it, because like you can't be out of it because God knows what's going to happen in the next few months, right? But for now, I think we just got to concentrate on bloody trying to win the next game, Lee. That's where we're at the moment.
Yeah,
we're not in let's look at these 10 games and see how many points. I just want to beat Forest first. Do you know what I mean? Because we haven't won since Southampton in the league, which was back, God knows how long ago it was, weeks ago, right? So that's where we got to be realistic about it. I wanted to bring up a couple of bits as well, because you did mention some injury news. There's a lot of reports suggesting that they're going to be looking potentially at Saka, who's being assessed from the knock that he got at Chelsea, and also Trossard. They're going to see if there's any chance of him making any form of comeback for this game. There's also talks about Trossard over a new contract. Trossard's current deal apparently is worth 90k a week. His new wages will surge into 6 figures if an agreement can be reached. What do you make of Trossard? Do you think we need to try and keep hold of him for the next couple of years?
Yeah, 100%. I think he's a very, very good squad player, like, you know, and he's done well for us. You know, he hasn't done well in the position that Odegaard was playing. I think that was a mistake, and that's not his fault. He tried to fill in there. It didn't work. But I liked his cameo performance when he come on against Chelsea. And listen, there is that thing of like form is temporary, like class is permanent, like, and I do think that he is a good player for us. I can't believe that people are going, oh, it don't matter, he's injured, he's been crap for us this season. I can't believe there are fans out there that are like that, you know. But I think he's good for what he does. And I think that most fans would say, like, you know, he's been a good signing for us. He's not one of my favourite players, Dan. I don't think that, you know, that's not his job, is it? Like, he's not going to be one of the top players. But I think that at the end of it, he's up there and deserves that. Like, you know, 90 grand a week. I thought he'd be on a little bit more than that, like, you know. So we'll have to wait and see. But for me, like, you know, I think we'll miss him Saturday, because I think that 70 minutes gone, you know, like, and even with Martinelli travelling, it could have been likely that he would have started in this game. You're now looking at someone like Sterling's got to come in and step up, Dan. And he has. And if he doesn't, you know, that's a joke. So you know that Trossard will, when he comes on, 9 times out of 10 does the business.
No, he's a top player, and unfortunately for this season, he ain't always shown it, Leandro Trossard. But I do think he's been an important buy. I really do. Big up to Rance as well, who apparently is rated to us absolute ledge. Thank you so much for that, my bro. Really appreciate that. And welcome all of you guys that's come over as well from that channel. Big up to Rance, legend. Make sure you go and do the thing over on his channel as well. Yeah, judges, I've got to be real about Trossard. I don't know that we will... if he is out, I don't know if he is back or not. I don't know if it will be too much now that Odegaard's back and now that Martinelli, everybody wants him playing on the left. I'm not sure we'll notice it so much, but I think that we would have a couple of weeks ago with him being out. Hopefully he is going to be back. I think he's been a really good signing. Like, I've got to be real. Like, I know Trossard's not been the best player this season for everyone, and some people are getting frustrated with him in certain positions that he's played, but I actually have to be real. Like, I think if you look at January signings, he's been one of the best that we've had. Like, you know, you look at 26 million, we were supposed to spend 80 or 90 or whatever the hell it was. Like, let's be real. So, look, I think that you've just got to be real about what Trossard has done, and I think he does deserve a new contract, albeit he hasn't been the best. Someone else that's been back in training, Lee, is the forgotten man, Mr. Kieran Tierney.
Yeah,
Let's just say it how it is.
that,
Yeah, let's just say how it is, man. Is he going to just get fit and go in January? Is there a place for him in this current crop of players? Because we don't know what's happening with Calafiori at left back. We're not really sure if Timber's going to play there. And now that Ben White's out, we don't know if it's going to be Tomiyasu back, how fit he is. Has Kieran Tierney got an actual hope in hell at the moment? Or is he just going to be kind of getting fit and getting sold in January for you, bro? What are you saying?
I get that when people are saying that he's only getting fit so that he can be sold, but we're still paying his wages, Dan. Simple as that, like, you know. So for me, I'd play him, like, you know, or be involved. At this moment in time, we've lost Ben White, so Timber's going to go to right back, I'd imagine. Tomiyasu, I don't know if he's going to be fit. If Tomiyasu's fit, then probably he'll go right back or left back, and Timber can go right. But I don't know. They swap that over. But there's no guarantees that he's going to be fit. There's no guarantees that Calafiori's going to be fit as well. If Calafiori's fit and 100% and been training for the last week, we don't know, then I'd play him. Zinchenko's still an option. But yeah, I think that, you know, I never really felt that Tierney ever done anything wrong. And when you look at it with Tierney, if the manager has copped the hump with him and said enough's enough, it's probably for the injuries that he's had more than that he's played down. The availability. Would you agree with that? I think it would.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so if that's the case, then he's got to be the same with Tomiyasu and other players and be ruthless with them as well. Because
I just to come in on that, I get annoyed because look, maybe I'm biased because I really like Kieran Tierney and I've done over the years, right? That's the sort of player I like in terms of his attitude and professionalism and etc. I understand, however, that you know the best ability is availability, and Tierney's always been injured, but he's played more than Zinchenko and Tomiyasu, and I think he might have played as much, if not more than Thomas Partey in the 4 years he's been here, whatever it's been, right? Because he's been here since Emery. And all of a sudden, people are like, "I'll get rid of Tierney. He's absolutely terrible." But I like, "Oh, we got to keep Tomiyasu. He's a good player." Well, he's not played anywhere near as much as Kieran Tierney has. So you got to be consistent with it. Is my point. You got to remain consistent with it. If Kieran Tierney is fit, I've got to say it now. I think he's better than a lot of our left backs. From what I've seen defensively, I think he's the best one we got. I think Timber's good over there, but really he's a right back. Or I think Arteta sees him as a right back. Calafiori, I haven't seen enough of. Tomiyasu can play there, but he doesn't really start there. He's definitely better than Zinchenko, in my opinion. On the ball, Zinchenko might offer a bit more. Kieran Tierney is miles, levels ahead of him defensively. So it ain't about the quality, I don't think. It's about the ability of him. And I think personally, if you had to ask me, he'll get fit and I think he'll go back to Celtic or somewhere like that. I think he'll try and go and revive his career. That's what I think will probably happen. And people might laugh at that and go, "Oh, well, he ain't good enough then." Well, that's fine. If he's not seen in the Arteta build-up, then he ain't going to be at Arsenal, mate, is he? Do you know what I mean?
No, and I totally agree with you. I don't think that he's the worst defender at the club by a long shot, and I don't think he's the worst forward for one game forward as well. I don't think like that was a weakness in his game. Sometimes, you know, dare I say, I want my left back to be a defender first and foremost, and my right back to be a defender first and foremost. So I do think it does come down to injury. But as you said there, you know, Zinchenko has been injured on many occasions with that calf injury. As you say, Calafiori's in his second injury already, like this season. I know a little bit of unluckiness, but you could say that with Tierney. And as you say, that Tomiyasu is, you know, is obviously they're cut from the same cloth then too, and he still seems to have a future. And listen, I think Tomiyasu's a fantastic defender when he can play, and when he's fit and available, he does a very, very good job across the whole of the back four. But I think Tierney could do that as well. I think Tierney's played for Scotland in a back three and as a central defender, then left-sided central defender at times. So could he do a better job than Kivior doing that? I don't think he could do any worse. So I don't really understand it, really.
This is what makes me laugh, like RM in the comment. But we finished 8th and 5th with Tierney as our starting left back, and with Zinchenko second. Yeah, Tierney was playing with David Luiz, Socrates.
Yeah, I think that's a great point.
And Zinchenko was playing with Gabriel Saliba and Ben White. So it's not quite the same, is it? Do you know what I mean? No. I don't really get that comment. Oh, he obviously hasn't been following Arsenal for very long.
Actually, I think it's a fair comment because of it's, you know, that's when you turn around and say it's stats, isn't it? It is stats, and that's what it is. be very interesting to see how Tierney would do with this back four now, with a Gabriel and a Saliba. I wouldn't mind to see it, Dan, if I'll be honest. See it and see, what he could actually do. And, if he could rectify his career and, it would be an unbelievable thing for him to do. I think that's a fair comment, what the guy just says there, because it's true. But let's see what he does with the likes of the others at the back there and in front of him as well. Like you're going back, 2-3 years when Martinelli was just a kid learning the game. And so I think that I'd like to see him be given a chance, Dan. Let's be honest, I would.
I'm not sure he's going to, if I'm honest.
No, I don't think he's going to. I think I think if Calafiori's not fit, Tomiyasu's not fit, I think Zinchenko will play there. But Tierney could be someone off the bench or certainly someone in the squad that could come in. Listen, he might get an opportunity. If I was a betting man, I don't think that he would.
No, I don't think he would at all, if I'm honest. I don't think he's the future of Arsenal Football Club as far as Arteta looks at it. He's 27. It's not like he's old. It's not like he's young. Personally, if I was the manager, I'd love to give him a go. I think he's a great fullback. I think he's one that actually overlaps and whips balls in. Well, I wouldn't mind him pinging some balls into Kai Havertz, that's for sure. And from a left-back position, I think we've now got the type of player up there that can cause havoc and a nuisance to flick it on, put it in the goal or flick it around onto someone else. I think it'd be a really good to see Tierney down there, but I do believe that he's probably going to be gone. I think he just wants to get fit and get back playing football somewhere, and it ain't going to be at Arsenal, I don't think. The loan deal didn't really work for him at Real Sociedad. I think he played, but then I think he got a couple of injuries there as well. So maybe he'll go back to Celtic. Maybe he'll go back to Celtic where he feels at home and revive his career.
3 minute, he got injured, a couple of injuries over there in Spain, as you said. I thought was doing fantastically well in the world in the Euros this season, this summer. Then gets a horrendous injury in that. It's just, it's one thing after another. And there's players, unfortunately, that are like that, Dan, that just keep getting injuries, like, you know what I mean? And that's how
I'm laughing at Turkish. This is a class comment, mate. Tierney swings the ball in, but Havertz is too busy winning duels in the centre circle.
Yeah, that's true, like, you know what I mean? So,
it's so true, man. It's so true. That's just what he was asked to do now. Is
I think they fight together, Turkish, you fucking muppet. You know what I mean? Like, and stop having a go at my guy Havertz, you. All right, I know what your game is. Leave Kai alone. All right.
Yeah, you're a fan of Kai, aren't you? You like Kai a lot.
I do like Kai.
You're a big fan. He's not one of my favourite players. But
no, he's not one of your favourite players. I stand by what everybody turns around and says. I think the weakest part of his game is the goal scoring. I think everything else is fantastic. Space invader. He makes space. He plays everything else like, makes a good cup of tea at half time. Everything that he does. But unfortunately, the one thing that he is the weakest part of his game. And do you know what? I'm going to say it now. The weakest part of his game is his goal scoring. I lost a little bit of love for Havertz when that penalty come up in the Champions League.
Well, Trossard took it.
He's on a roll of 7 games at home scoring and all that. Like, do you think Alan Shearer, Ian Wright, Harry Kane would have let somebody have that penalty?
No, it was bad. I don't know why Arteta didn't be screaming out as well.
No, I lost a lot. I lost a lot from that because he's a goal scorer, and I don't care what anybody says. He scores that goal. It's another goal to his thing, and at the end of the day, he might have 10 goals now instead of 9. And I don't care what anybody says, Dan. If you've got 10 goals, it looks better than 9 goals because you're in double figures and whatever. And the likes of your Turkishes and all that, will go, well, he's only got 5 goals. Well, no, he's got 10. Yeah, and then he goes, they've got penalties, but it don't matter. No one, if you've got 200 goals, right, Harry Kane's got 200 goals, no one turns around and says, well, 15 or 30 then were penalties. And I'll tell you what, Harry Kane...
No, I agree with that. A lot of people say about Tony. I don't want Tony because he only scores penalties.
Yeah,
I don't agree with that.
It was a goal scorer. It might have been Shearer. I think it might have been Shearer. Someone correct me if it's not. He said, look, why wouldn't you want to take a penalty? you're 12 yards out with just to keep it a beat. Like it's an opportunity to get a goal to your name. And that's the one thing, you know what I mean? Like Kai Havertz, I do feel, you know, doing that to me, like, was something like, you know, not only that, it would have got a record that would took it off of Van Persie. Do you know what I mean, Dan? I just felt it was poor from him that
No, well, he should have said, "Hang on, mate, this is mine." You know, I'm for the record. Trossard would have given him it 100%.
I need goals. You know what I mean? The one thing that I think that I think even, you know, the biggest, if Kai Havertz was on 15 goals now, no one would be digging at him. All right, no one would be digging at him because he's got, you know, got 15 goals. But
I don't even, do you know what? I'm going to stop you, as I don't even think it's about the goals for me. I think it's about what the manager's asking him to do. I think
there's all of that. There's all of that, Dan. I'll get that. Like the last 5 weeks, you know, it's no coincidence Arsenal played slightly better because he was up front the other day, like, you know. Well, what I'm saying is, it is about goals. If you're that number 9 and you're that striker, you know, it is about goals, Dan. It is. You know what I mean? Like, you know, no one.
Do you agree we need another 9 though? Yeah.
We need something different. Yeah, we do need something different.
But do you think he should start ahead of Havertz though? Right?
Not all the time. Not all the time. Certain games that he would. Certain games that I think they could play as a pair or whatever. Like, I think Havertz does make us play a lot better. You know, and I do think that he's a very, very good footballer, but he's not a killer. There's a difference, Dan. There's a difference between, like, you know what I mean? There's different, like, how can I put this? Like, Dennis Bergkamp, you know, no, probably the wrong thing. I try and think, like, you know what I mean? Like, Ian Wright was a killer. Was he a fantastic footballer? He couldn't do things that Dennis Bergkamp done, or he couldn't do things that Eric Cantona did, you know what I mean? Or whatever. But he was a killer, a goal scorer. Harry Kane is an all-rounder for sort of a player. I'm just trying to think of certain players. Someone that Gary Lineker. I don't know if people remember Gary. Weren't the greatest footballer in the world, but he was a goal scorer then. You know what I mean? Like,
even Haaland, man. Even Haaland, you can say.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. Yeah, that's a great thing. Would you say? I would say that.
But the difference is they're scoring. So I think for me, what we need to look at is, do we need a finisher or do we need a Havertz? And for me, I think, look, I've got to be real. I prefer Giroud to Havertz personally. I see them as quite similar. Some people don't.
Yes, it's a similar sort of thing.
I think they're similar. And we were crying out for a striker when we had Giroud, man. 2016, I was crying out for a striker. Like, come on, man, don't just have Giroud. We ended up buying Petr Cech. That was it. And I feel like now, if we don't get a 9, which I don't think we're going to do in January, by the way, because it looks like we've been linked with wingers and attacking midfielders again, I do worry because I don't think Jesus is good enough. I don't think Sterling's good enough. And we have literally got Havertz and Havertz only. And he's playing every single game. We're being asked now to drop him deeper and play a lot more deeper so that he can do this swapsies with whoever. I don't like all that crap. I want my number 9 to be a number 9 and I want him in front of goal to be scoring. And I just feel like people seem to think that, you just don't like Havertz. I actually quite don't mind Havertz. I don't mind Havertz. I want a striker that scores in front of goal.
I think that's someone, like, I don't know who it was sitting there. We need a better striker than Havertz. You know what I mean? Like, as a striker, we do, right? I go along with that. But what I'm saying is the way that that Arteta plays, you need that link in there, like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's the difference. You know, we don't play like a team that relies straight on the goal scorer. Do you know what I'm saying? No, maybe we should. I'm not saying that we shouldn't. So if we're going to change the style of play and everything like that, then we need another like. It's no. I'm trying to think of a striker if we got scores lots of goals. I'd say it now without being like, if we brought someone like Ian Wright to the team now, like, I don't think it would suit the way we play, Dan. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you know, we'd have to change a lot of our play to make that work. That's what we got to get. I think someone said like Isaac would be probably the perfect. I go along with that, but I would say that.
You take Gyökeres or Isak over Havertz.
Yeah, out of the two, I'd probably go with Gyökeres because he's got a little bit more physicality as well. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, what you want is someone like the goal scoring of Wright, but as the build-up play of of Havertz. Years ago, we had Ian Wright and Alan Smith, perfect combination. Like, do you know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah, Wright, he was better in a two, definitely.
Yeah,
Right,
you've got to have a one there. That's how it is.
Havertz. Like, he could play with Havertz, to be fair.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. If you had like an Ian Wright and Havertz, it'd probably be. But it doesn't work like that now. It's not that the game's changed. It's changed.
Not 4-4-2 anymore, man.
It's a different game now. Like, I see what Havertz brings to the team. I really do. But we need that killer. We might win 3-0 on Saturday. We might, but I'm asking you now to put £200 down. Who's your first person you're going to put £200 to score a goal?
Saka, probably.
Saka, probably, yeah. Then you're probably going Martinelli, maybe even Odegaard after that, and then Havertz. I'm not saying like let's put your balls on the chopping line now, Dan. Right, and you're going to say, yeah, your axe ain't going down on me because Havertz is going to score.
Yeah,
you're not. That's the thing. But I'll tell you this now. Put your balls on the chopping line now. Haaland, do you think he'll score at the weekend? Yeah, I do. Do you know what I'm saying? I get what people are saying with that. I really do. I understand that. I really do.
Well, let me ask you this, right? Before we come into the weekend, if we don't sign somebody in January, do you think it's because the Cronkies aren't stumping up cash, or do you think it's because Arteta don't want a number 9?
I think. Do you want my personal opinion? I think it's because I don't think that Arteta wants that sort of player. I really don't. I think he wants the sort of false 9 thing. I really do. I think, no one was saying that we needed a striker when we was banging in 6 goals at West Ham, 5 goals here and 5 goals there. When they did say it then, you know what I mean? And it's all right, people keeping their mouths shut and putting their hands firmly on their legs when we're winning 5-6-0 and all that, like. So I'll wait until we don't score, And then when we don't score against Bayern Munich or that's when we need the striker. That's when we need the striker. But I agree with that. There are times when you don't need that striker, but I do think when you're playing crap, right, a goal can cover up 1,000 sins. You know what I mean? And that's happened when I've played football and when you've played and when we've seen other teams. You ain't playing that well, and all of a sudden you're 2-0 up and you think, we're 2-0. Oh, we've had 2 chances and scored 2 goals. And I do agree with that. I just think that when you're playing those top teams or you're not playing well at Bournemouth, and then all of a sudden, the ball goes across the goal, bang, goal, and you're 1-0 up, We haven't got no one that does that because Havertz is too busy or wants to be involved with the playing side of the game, And I'll go back to that penalty because that's what I think if you sat down with myself, I was a midfield player. I played up front. I was a striker, but I got as much satisfaction out of passing, getting an assist, even though it weren't about in my day, but putting a lovely through ball and someone scoring than scoring myself. Right? Yeah. I think if you went to Havertz, what do you prefer to do? Make an assist or score a goal? I think he might think about it.
I think he'll want to link up.
Right, goal. Yeah. I ain't got no thinking. goal.
Yeah.
I think Dennis Bergkamp may think about it, but but I'm not comparing. You know what I'm saying, But I think a really ruthless goal scorer ain't worried about assists and all that. I know footballers, Dan, right, that we've lost 2-1, right, and they've scored. And they're more happier than if we've won 3-0 and they ain't scored. Do you know what I mean? Because that's the way that they're built. They're fucking selfish, but that's how they are. So I don't think Havertz has got that killer side to him.
Yeah, he 100%.
People say we need a better striker. There ain't a better striker that holds the ball. For instance, Havertz is a better footballer than Haaland. Can hold the ball up more. He can do tricks, pass him, and all that. But when it comes to goal scoring, right, he's in a different world. He's in a different world, and that's how it is, But what we want, I think most Arsenal fans are looking at it and going, what is Arsenal's weakness at the moment. They're not saying it's because we're brilliant football. It's a goal scorer. We want a goal scorer. And so there's a difference. There's a difference forward between being a forward like Havertz or a goal scorer. And I think that's what we've got to do. We've got to get someone that can do what Havertz does, but also can be that little bit of a killer as well. That's not happy to let Trossard have the ball for a penalty and all that. Like, you know, I couldn't believe that, Dan. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't believe that. And that's what we need.
Well, look, I mean,
you don't have a chance in the game, and you get one chance.
Turkish ain't happy with you mentioning Bergkamp and Havertz in the same bracket here. But
yeah, but I'll tell you what, like, you know what I mean? What does he know? You know what I mean? Like, what does he know? Put your hat over your eyes, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that. Like.
Big up Turkey,
he's a good person for it. And I'll go back to it, and Turkish might agree with me and all that. Like, they put Havertz up front, they put Van Persie up front, right? I never thought that he would score the goals that he did, but he did. He was ruthless. He had that ruthless side with him as well, like, you know. So hold on a minute, just got to go and answer.
Yeah, go on, you go. No, go on, you go do it. Mate, Van Persie for me is levels ahead of Havertz, in my opinion. I think people trying to compare players all the time, I don't really see much of a comparison with the people are putting in the same bracket. Bergkamp, Van Persie, even Berbatov, to be fair. For me, Turkey just said Shamak. Shamak and Bentner. Yeah, man, Turkish ain't a fan, is he? Turkish ain't a fan of Havertz at all, is he?
No, but I'll tell you what, like, he'll be eating humble pie at the end of the season. Don't worry about that. You know,
well, man,
like,
me and Turkish
he wasn't giving it large last season. Like, he had to go on the defensive a little bit, like, you know, because that's what people do. People can do that, can't they? They can say he's rubbish 1 minute, and then when they're not doing very, very well, they can keep quiet. You know, so that's how. But I get what. Look, listen, goal scoring is an art, Dan. It's the hardest thing to do in football. I don't care what anybody says. Like, you know, if it was the easiest thing to do in football, the strikers wouldn't be paid the money that they got. And it's not easy. Everybody thinks it's easy, but it's not. It's not easy being the striker up front on your own, doing all what you do. You got to have a little bit of support here and there, like, you know. So for me, like, I think that our Arsenal do need someone. Listen, Solanke's another one at Tottenham, does all the hard graft and all that, but he's not a goal scorer. Dan, he's not a goal scorer. You know what I mean? Like, now, you look at somebody like him, and then you look at someone like Harry Kane, right, who's both. You know, I mean, they're about 120. Like, Harry Kane in his prime would be about £120 million on today's market, or more.
I think that's what we got to go and spend, though, bruv. Real talk.
I think that's what you're looking at. It's to prize Isaacs away from Newcastle. What are you saying? 120?
It's going to start 100. It's going to start 100, and they'll probably want more.
Start. I think it's going to be more than that. So when you know, Havertz was 65 million, Solanke 65 million. Like, yeah, they're not going to be the full Turkish package.
That's why this Gyökeres man has got to be done.
You know what I mean? Turkish package. You know what I mean? Not going to be that. You know, wrapped up with your Turkish delight and all that. Like, it ain't going to be that, and your little sprinkles of powder over your sweets. It ain't that. You're going to have to stump up a lot more money.
Man, I should have sent Turkish the link, man. That would have been class. But look, man, I've got to be real. I think that we do need to go and spend big on Isak or Gyökeres now. I don't think we're going to in January, by the way. I mean, we're being linked at the moment with more wingers and attacking midfielders, but I think that's what's going to have to happen. And by then, like you said, you made a good point. By January, we might be like 15, 20 points behind. Who knows? A lot can change in football. We could be 2 points behind, but we could be 15.
Exactly that. And this is what I say about, you know, that you need a goal scorer and all that. Like, because it does deflect from maybe that you're not a great side and whatever. But listen, Arsenal weren't a great side when Ian Wright was banging in goals left, right, and centre. We wasn't. We was never challenging for the league until Wenger came along. But at the end of the day, he was scoring goals, and people go, "Oh, it's different areas." It's not always necessarily. You've got to get every single part right. And it's very, very difficult to do that. Like, and Van Persie was probably, if we had Van Persie now, we're probably in his prime, as he was, we would probably win the league.
Yeah,
Because
I think there's a few strikers that
he
we had.
could do the hold-up play that Arteta likes, but he could also score the goals.
Yeah, Van Persie is levels ahead of Havertz, man. He's absolutely not even close for me.
He could do it all. He could do it all.
Yeah, he was phenomenal, man. I think people will forget how good he was, particularly that season that he left us before he left.
Scores when he wants. Remember that song? He scores when he wants.
Man. He was unreal.
Fantastic.
He's one of the best Emirates players for me. Like, Robin Van Persie was.
But he could do it all. He was a footballer as well, Dan. That's what I'm trying to say. He's a footballer as well.
His technical ability was unreal. He could take free kicks and penalties. He could link up play. He could bullet of a left foot. He's a top talent, man. But look, man, we got Forest at the weekend before we come to a close. What's the team? Because Ben White's out. I've got a really nasty feeling he's going to play Partey at right back because I'm not sure Calafiori's going to make this one. So I've got a feeling he's going to play Partey at right back and Timber at left back and then go with Marino, Rice and Ødegaard. But what are you saying?
Don't. I think he could go there. I'm going to go no. I'm going to go with Timber at right back, Zinchenko at left back, two central defenders, Saliba and Gabriel, three of Partey, Rice, Ødegaard, Saka, Martinelli, and King Kai up front, like 3-0, not Arsenal against Nottingham Forest. Havertz 2.
Wow, that's a really interesting one, man. All right, let's get over and done with because everyone's going to come for me now. I've been quite clear that I think we're going to go on a run, but I think it starts after Sporting Lisbon. I think we drop points on Saturday, and I think we drop points. Yeah, and I think we drop points against Lisbon. The only other game I think from now until the 1st that we drop points in is Craven Cottage. I think every other game we win. I think we beat United. I think we beat West Ham. I think we beat Ipswich. I think we beat Brentford. I think we beat Palace, and I think we beat Everton. But I don't think we're going to win on this weekend. I'm going to go with a 2-2. I think Nottingham Forest are not a team that we want to be brushing aside like easily. I think we've got to go into this game serious. Nuno's a good coach. This reminds me of Wolves Nuno, not the Tottenham Nuno, because that was a joke. The way that they were playing were very, very good back then, and they are well drilled. They're a well drilled side. If you watch them like I've done this season, they have got a brilliant centre half pairing in Murillo and Milenkovic. I think Milenkovic probably been the signing of the summer. No one's speaking about him. They've got a good goalkeeper in Matt Sells, who's been very, very good and made world-class saves in a number of matches. They've got Ayana, who's been brilliant at fullback. Then you look at their pace, their front four: Morgan, Gibbs, White, Elanga, Hudson-Odoi and Wood. They all know where the goal is, and they have different sorts of threats. I think we've got to be. I think people are thinking this is 3-0, 4-0. Nah, I think this is going to be really hard, man. Really hard.
They lost a 3-1 to Newcastle last game out, though, Dan.
Well, that's the hope we got, is that their confidence is knocked, right? That's what we have. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. Unfortunately, I'm going to go 2-2, but I hope I'm wrong. I hope we smash them, mate. It's going to be horrible, by the way, so wrap up warmly. My God, it's going to be wet and rainy. It's going to be wet, windy, 50 mile an hour winds. Yeah, wet, windy and cold. So, look, we've got to cut it short today because I've got another show in 10 minutes, which is going to redirect you people. So stick by where you are because it's going to redirect you to my show now. So stay tuned and you can join me over on my channel. Lee's got to go and do some Lee Judges things now, so we're going to leave him to it. But that's my prediction.
Just looking at the weekend, the whole weekend is going to be wet.
Oh, no, it's going to be miserable, mate.
Miserable.
It's going to be miserable, mate.
Mate.
It's good football as well, though.
It's not a miserable weekend in football-wise, you know what I mean?
Well, let's hope the weather's more miserable than Arsenal. But that's my prediction. Liverpool have got Southampton away. Manchester City host Spurs at home. That's going to be a big game. So, what do you think of those two games? Do you see Liverpool or City dropping?
It's Liverpool will win there, and unfortunately, I do see that City will come out of their little rut as well against Spurs. But listen, Spurs have got probably the best record against City over anybody. So,
two central defenders are out.
But it's Bill's just saying that the two Spurs central defenders are out. So, so City then.
I'll have a field trade
Do you
in.
remember last season, though? Do you remember last season? They had about 6 players out and still got a 3-3 draw up there. So I think it'd be a high scoring game, 3-2. But I think that I reckon Liverpool 2-0, comfortable 2-0 win. No, Aaron Ramsdale was injured as well, wasn't he? So they've not got their main goalkeeper, So
they might keep a clean sheet now. Then.
Nil then.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's the luck that lad has. They'll probably go and keep clean sheet.
Yeah, keep clean sheet, man. A match performance coming up,
Can you imagine? Look, strange things have happened. We might beat Forest, Liverpool might lose, and City might drop points to Spurs. You never know. You never know.
It could be a great weekend.
It could be a great weekend, or it could be as miserable as the weather. Listen, people, make sure you do me a favor, hit the like, hit subscribe. Make sure you stay tuned. You're going to join me over at the channel. I've got myself, got Hooks, got Jacob, got Jamie. We're going to be talking about the weekend's football. That is back. So make sure you stay tuned here. It will redirect you automatically to my show. And Lee, I'll let you have the last word, man. Let's go.
Listen, bring your brollies. It's going to be a wet one. But tell you what, wet and wild, it could be fun.